Good evening and welcome to LV News Limerick Voice. The headlines tonight:
burglaries at student estates around UL, university's decision to be a pro-choice campus faces criticism, and women in comedy on the up.
Concerns have been raised by students at the University of Limerick following a number of break-ins at housing estates in the Castletroy area. Laptops, cameras and other devices are among the items reported stolen.
A rise in the number of break-ins in the areas surrounding the University of Limerick has seen the student estates such as College Court, Ellen Park and Briarfield all targeted. Burglars seem to be aware that students leave their belongings unsecure, so they take advantage of this situation.
I didn't really like the feeling knowing someone had kind of rummaged through your stuff and been around the house when you weren't there. They took Xboxes, any kind of thing electronic, like they didn't touch jewellery or anything like that. And they kind of just messed around the rooms and that kind of thing.
Yeah. When you contacted the guards, were they helpful or has anything really...
They actually took about like 4 hours or 5 hours to turn up, and they weren't very helpful actually. They came the next day and they did the forensics and they took like a list of everything that was taken and where they came in, but nothing ever came of it. There was actually 6 or 7 houses broken in the same weekend, so any weekend when there's not students here, there's like a good probability of break-ins.
UL Accommodation Services offered the following advice to students.
If you see anything suspicious, it's to report it straight away. It's to get on the phone and let people know that there is suspicious activity.
Earlier today, Henry Street Garda Station released the following statement. We strongly advise students secure their belongings and make sure they lock their doors when they leave the house. We also advise that students report any suspicious behaviour that they may see in the areas surrounding the University of Limerick. Students will be hopeful that there will be a crackdown on these burglaries in order to make the areas surrounding the University of Limerick a safer place. Francis Keane Brosnan, College Court, LV News.
Last month, the University of Limerick was declared a pro-choice campus following a vote by its students' union. Both sides of the campaign have been giving their reaction to the result as preparations continue ahead of the official referendum vote on May 25th.
University of Limerick Student Union is now a pro-choice campus, but there is a lot of confusion as to what this actually means. Liz Gabbett, SU Democracy and Development Manager, emphasised that it is the SU, not the University of Limerick, that has taken this stance. This was decided in an AGM SU meeting where, despite notice, only 246 students attended. The motion was passed by an overwhelming majority of 171. What does this mean for students who want to campaign against repealing the 8th Amendment?
In terms of the No campaign, they're absolutely entitled to campaign on campus because people are allowed free speech. The only thing is the Students' Union doesn't have to support them. We're mandated to support a yes vote.
So really it just means that pro-choice students on campus are supported, which they weren't before with the neutral stance. So what we're planning to do from now to the 25th is just to start holding information stalls on campus and to go canvassing with the Limerick branch of Together for Yes, and just really working to repeal the 8th Amendment to provide compassionate care for pregnant people and anyone that needs it in this country.
UL Life Society were unable to speak to us today, but Amy O'Connor Burke believes that an unbiased stance would benefit more students than the current stance.
I'm a member of the Student Council. I'm the first year representative on Student Council, and the reason that I take kind of a neutral or an unbiased stance on it is because even though personally I'm a follower of the pro-choice movement, I feel as though as a student representative it's my duty to put aside my personal opinion and make a decision that will benefit as many students as possible.
Regardless of the ULSU stance, every student will have their own decision to make on May 25th. Until then, both sides will be using their right to free speech to try to influence students to vote in their favour. Sarah Talty, University of Limerick, LV News.
This year, just 1/5 of the current members of the University of Limerick's Comedy Society are female. And while a career in comedy can be an uphill battle for women, the Society's chair says it's not just a boys' club.
And this guy tipped me on the shoulder and I was like, oh my god, this is it. We're going to get married.
I'm here at the Scholars Club in the University of Limerick. We're inside, students are having drinks, chatting with friends and having a laugh. But how many of those students will get up on stage to make others laugh?
Okay, so at the moment we have about 20 active members and 4 of those will be women. However, those 4 are long-term members and most of them are within the committee. It could be on a simple level if you just do like a low-level analysis of, I suppose. It might just be perhaps there's like more of an interest amongst men or whatever. It could be just that there's sort of a general viewpoint that it's like, oh, it's mostly kind of like a boys' club thing or whatever. But we never portray the workshops in such a way.
Comedians, once they do go on stage, they do put on a persona, and that's just kind of what gets you through it, really, and you can just be whoever you really want to be up there. I think it just depends on the person themselves, you know, their own kind of personality. If you've got a more outgoing personality, then it just comes easier to you.
Doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, or whatever, you just have to try make a joke.
I going to the gym, I tried doing karate, but I found it too confusing.
Cora Power, LV News.
And now over to Gary for all the day's sports news. Gary?
Thanks, Marisa. First up, the Munster rugby team have jetted off to South Africa for their upcoming Guinness Pro 14 fixtures against the Southern Kings and the Cheetahs. It's the province's first trip to the country following the expansion of the league. Next to golf, and preparations are underway in Augusta for the 2018 Masters tournament, which tees off on Thursday. Rory McIlroy is the only Irish representative in the field, with the world number 7 hoping to complete a career Grand Slam. Limerick FC's EA Sports Cup tie with Cove Ramblers has been rescheduled for Monday, April the 9th at Markets Field. The original fixture, which was meant to take place yesterday, was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. And now to our main sports story. As racing season reaches its peak, Irish punters will be hoping to win big. Our reporter Patrick Flaherty spoke to 2 UL students who've had mixed fortunes at the bookies and asked whether we're facing a gambling epidemic in Irish colleges.
Limerick Student Race Day takes place next Thursday, and it's events like this that give people their first taste of gambling.
I think it was Cheltenham Festival, I think it was about 12 years old. There was a bookie set up in the Jacks with 2 of the Leaving Cert students, so they were taking bets for basically the week at Cheltenham.
Student Race Days has sprung up across the country, but questions have been raised about Irish colleges and gambling policies.
Yeah, I didn't really hear if the Students' Union ever doing anything about gambling, really. I wouldn't stop a race day because or something like that, but I would put measures in place. The bookies do that gambling responsible, but I'd say if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see it. It's exciting as well, you never really know what's going to happen in a horse race.
However, not everybody shares his enthusiasm.
Cheltenham again, and to be honest, I had money put away, because I think I had about 200 or 300 quid. I think I lost most of it then. I actually borrowed 200 quid then off my father. Looking back at it now, you're putting 100 quid on a horse at the age of 17, you're not even legally able to gamble, but it was, that's kind of when I started noticing it.
Consequences of his addiction have caused Keane huge amounts of stress and problems.
I was missing college and going to work, missing college to pay back all the debts. I wouldn't go to a race course, I kind of see him hours a day just for dressing up and going drinking. It's kind of a shame to miss it, but at the same time, I know if I go out there, I'll end up down about 500 or 600 quid in cash, which I don't have.
Students' Union President Jack Shelley has stressed the SU don't have an official stance when it comes to student gambling. In an official statement, Mr. Shelley has warned students to know your limit, both betting-wise and drinking-wise. He has also advised students to keep to a rigid budget and stick to it. This is Patrick Flaherty reporting for LV News here in Limerick.
Good evening. It's a mixed bag for the next 24 hours, as heavy showers will spread across the country, hitting the north first and swooping down to the south. The cold snap will continue as temperatures are set to drop below freezing tonight. A status yellow frost warning is in place in the Midlands from 10 p.m. until 10 a.m. tomorrow. Temperatures will range from between 0 and -3 degrees Celsius, with a threat of sleet or snow on high ground. It's a tale of 2 halves tomorrow, however, as rain will clear in the east and the north, leading to sunny spells. Heavy showers will continue in the west and south throughout the day, with up to 3 millimetres of rain expected. Temperatures will rise tomorrow, with highs of 12 and lows of 4 degrees, but will plummet to below freezing by nightfall. That's all from me this evening. Now, back to you, Marisa.
Thanks, Elaine. And the main headlines again tonight.
Burglaries at student estates around UL. University's decision to be a pro-choice campus faces criticism. And women in comedy on the up.
And that's all for this evening. From all of us here at LV News Limerick Voice, take care.